Ladies and gentlemen, you stand here today shaped by forces beyond your control, forces that have quietly driven your every step, your every decision, your every triumph. But do you ever stop to wonder where this strength comes from? The world tells you that success is earned, that it's all about the grind. But there's a deeper story, one that often goes unnoticed, ignored even. Your mother's sacrifice, her endless hours, her sleepless nights, her unwavering support crafted the very foundation of who you are. She didn't just raise you, she molded you, often at the expense of her own dreams, her own ambitions. And here's the thing, you've been walking around thinking that you made it on your own, but the truth is, you were never alone in your fight. And if you don't recognize this, you risk losing the essence of what truly matters. Stick with me because we're about to uncover just how deep this sacrifice goes and why it's essential you honor it not just in words, but through your actions. Every success you achieve stands on the silent sacrifices your mother made. It's easy to look at your life and believe that everything you've earned came solely from your own hard work, your own determination, and your own ambition. And of course, those things are true. You have worked hard. You have pushed yourself. But beneath that journey, like an invisible current, runs the effort of someone who gave parts of herself so you could thrive. A mother's sacrifices are often quiet, often invisible to the outside world, and sometimes even invisible to the very children she is sacrificing for. Yet they are as real and powerful as anything you have ever done yourself. Think back to the earliest days you can remember. Who was there holding your hand when you were too afraid to walk into the unknown? Who stayed up long after you fell asleep, worrying, planning, hoping that you would be given the chances she never had? Your path was never paved purely by opportunity. It was paved by her will, her work, and her willingness to put your needs above her own. She missed celebrations she was never invited to, skipped opportunities she was never offered, and swallowed her own struggles so you would not have to carry their weight. There were moments she could have chosen herself and no one would have blamed her, but she didn't. She chose you every time. She chose to get up before the sun so you could have a lunch packed with care. She chose to say no to things she wanted so you could say yes to dreams you hadn't even dared to dream yet. She chose to hide her own exhaustion behind a smile so that you would feel safe, strong, and unburdened. The world may never hand her an award for it. There may never be applause for the things she gave up quietly year after year. But your success is her silent victory. Imagine all the small moments you never saw, the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices she made that no one ever asked her to make and she never asked to be thanked for. Those moments built the life you have now. Every step forward you take echoes with the footsteps she took behind you, clearing the way, shielding you from the harsher winds of the world. She carried burdens so you could carry dreams. She lived limitations so you could live possibility. And when you stumbled, it wasn't just your own strength that caught you. It was her love, invisible but unbreakable, that held you steady. There is a quiet kind of heroism in what mothers do, a kind that doesn't demand recognition but is no less deserving of it. When others gave up on you, she stayed. When you doubted yourself, she saw what you could be. And even when you didn't deserve it, she believed in you. Not because you were perfect, not because you earned it, but because you were hers, and that was enough. Her sacrifices were not just about giving you things or making life easier. They were about building a person, someone strong, someone capable, someone ready to face a world that wouldn't always be kind. And here's a brutal truth. The world will often lie to you. It will tell you that success is about money, status, fame. It will tell you that you are entirely self-made. But deep down, when the noise fades, you will remember the late nights she stayed up worrying if you were okay. You will remember the quiet sighs she tried to hide when she was too tired to stand but still stood up for you. You will remember the things she did that you never even knew about, sacrifices so deep they became part of the ground you walk on today. You didn't climb that mountain alone. Every handhold you grabbed was shaped by her sacrifices. Every summit you reach carries her invisible fingerprints. Every battle you win carries the spirit of someone who fought quietly beside you, even when you didn't see her. You owe more than thanks. You owe awareness, you owe action. To live your life with the knowledge that someone gave up pieces of their own life so you could have yours isn't a burden, it's a responsibility. A powerful, beautiful responsibility. You don't have to live your life weighed down by guilt or regret for what was given to you, but you do have to live it awake. Awake to the fact that greatness never grows in isolation. Awake to the fact that the silent sacrifices of those who loved you most are woven into the very fabric of who you have become. Awake to the truth that every moment of strength you feel is the harvest of seeds she planted long ago, often in tears and doubt, but always in hope. Her dreams were often set aside to make space for yours to grow. It's a reality few of us stop to consider until life forces us to slow down and look back. We grow up believing that the opportunities in front of us are simply ours for the taking, that our successes are the result of our own talents, efforts, and perseverance. But beneath every opportunity you seized, there was often a silent forfeiture, a quiet surrender of dreams that once lived vividly in the heart of your mother. Before you were born, she carried hopes for her own life, ambitions that had nothing to do with parenting, goals that spoke to the person she was before she ever held you in her arms. Maybe she dreamed of traveling the world, building a career, writing a book, starting a business, or simply carving out a space where she could be fully and entirely herself. But when you came into her life, everything shifted. In ways you may never fully understand, she placed those dreams gently to the side like precious artifacts set on a high shelf so she could build a future for you instead. Not because she had to, and certainly not because she was weak, but because her love for you redefined what success meant to her. She traded late-night study sessions for late-night feedings. She traded job interviews for parent-teacher conferences. She traded the intoxicating thrill of personal achievement for the steady, often thankless work of raising a child. It wasn't that she stopped dreaming altogether. Dreams don't die so easily, but they were rerouted, reshaped around your existence, your needs, your growth. Her dreams became less about self-fulfillment and more about ensuring you had the tools to build dreams of your own. You might not have noticed it when you were young, the way she smiled with pride as you took your first steps toward a future she could have once walked herself. You might not have noticed it when she celebrated your milestones without ever mentioning the milestones she postponed or abandoned altogether. You might not have seen it in the way she encouraged you to chase after every opportunity, even as doors quietly closed for her, doors she chose not to walk through so she could be standing there when you needed her most. This kind of sacrifice doesn't come with loud declarations or public displays. It happens in the quiet spaces of ordinary days, in small choices that compound over years. She chose a life that gave you room to grow, even if it meant pruning back her own possibilities. Every ballet lesson, every soccer game, every late-night conversation about your dreams was time she could have spent chasing her own. Every penny saved for your future was a penny not spent on a course she wanted to take, a trip she wanted to experience, a passion she wanted to pursue. And what's most extraordinary is that she did it without expectation. She didn't set aside her dreams as a bargaining chip, as a debt you would someday have to repay. She did it because somewhere deep within her, she believed that helping you build your dreams was somehow even more beautiful than realizing her own. That kind of love is rare. That kind of sacrifice is immeasurable. And it's so easy to overlook when you're caught up in your own journey, climbing your own mountains, fighting your own battles. As you move through life, you carry not just your own ambitions, but the weight and the worth of the sacrifices made to give you the platform to pursue them. Every time you push forward, every time you rise higher, you are not rising alone. You are standing on the quiet foundation she built when she chose you over herself time and time again. It's a foundation laid with invisible bricks of patience, endurance, and unwavering hope. The world may never recognize the dreams she gave up, and maybe you won't always be able to name them either. But you can honor them. You can live with a deeper sense of gratitude, knowing that the space you have to dream freely was once filled with the dreams she willingly stepped away from. And when you face moments of doubt, moments when the world feels too heavy or the path feels too uncertain, remember that you come from someone who understood the price of dreams and paid it anyway, with love, with grace, and with a strength so quiet that it almost went unnoticed. True gratitude means living a life that honors her unseen struggles. It's easy to say thank you, easy to buy flowers once a year or post a few words on social media. But real gratitude, the kind that carries weight and meaning, is something far deeper and more demanding. It is a way of living. It's in the choices you make, the character you build, and the respect you show for the countless battles she fought without ever asking for recognition. Her struggles weren't the kind people write books about. They were the quiet battles, the daily sacrifices, the invisible worries she carried on her back like a second skin. You didn't see all the nights she stayed awake, mind racing through lists of things to do, problems to solve, fears to face. You didn't hear the silent prayers she whispered into the darkness, hoping that somehow, despite her doubts and her exhaustion, she was giving you enough. You didn't feel the aching disappointment when she had to say no to herself so she could say yes to you. And she didn't complain. She didn't look for sympathy. She simply kept going because that's what love demanded of her. She carried burdens you'll never fully understand, and she did it with a fierce, quiet dignity that the world will never properly honor. Living with true gratitude means acknowledging that you are the product not just of your own efforts, but of a legacy of strength you didn't build alone. It means refusing to squander the opportunities you've been given, opportunities that were paid for with her time, her energy, her dreams. It means striving to be the kind of person whose life reflects the weight of what was sacrificed. It's about working hard not because success feels good, but because you understand that giving anything less would dishonor the invisible foundation she laid for you. True gratitude shows up in your resilience, in your unwillingness to quit when life gets hard. She didn't have the luxury of giving up when she was tired or scared, and neither do you. It shows up in your kindness, in the way you treat people, in the way you extend patience and grace to others, because you were once given patience and grace when you didn't even realize you needed it. It shows up in your ambition, not the shallow kind that seeks trophies and titles, but the kind that seeks to live a meaningful, purposeful life, a life that would make her struggles feel worthwhile. Every time you choose courage over comfort, every time you choose discipline over excuses, every time you choose to build instead of destroy, you honor her. Every time you look back at the path you've traveled and acknowledge the hands that lifted you, the sacrifices that cleared the way, the strength that was lent to you when you had none of your own, you practice true gratitude. It is not about guilt. It is not about feeling like you owe a debt that can never be repaid. It is about recognizing the truth and allowing that recognition to transform how you move through the world. You live with true gratitude when you remember that your victories are stitched together with threads she wove in the quiet hours when no one was watching. You live with true gratitude when you realize that every chance you have to dream bigger, to reach higher, to live freer exists because she bore the weight of life when you were too small, too fragile, too unaware to carry it yourself. Gratitude is not passive. It is not a feeling you carry in your heart and dust off on special occasions. It is active. It demands something of you. It demands that you live with integrity because she lived hers for you. It demands that you pursue your potential because she sacrificed hers to fuel yours. It demands that you love fiercely, work relentlessly, and rise after every fall because that's what she did in the quiet chapters of her life you will never fully know. Her struggles were not glamorous. They were not celebrated. But they were the birthplace of your freedom, your possibility, your future. To honor them is not a burden, it is the highest privilege. When you find yourself doubting your worth, questioning your path, or feeling overwhelmed by the pressures of life, remember that you come from someone who fought unseen battles so you could have the luxury of fighting your own. Her struggles are the silent hymns that have been sung over your life from the beginning. And the only way to truly thank her is to live a life that turns those silent hymns into a symphony of strength, resilience, and purpose. Recognizing her sacrifices is the first step toward realizing your fullest potential. It's tempting to believe that we can carve out our own destinies simply by willing it, by setting goals, by pushing harder and harder every day. But the truth is, none of us begin this journey alone, and none of us reach greatness without standing on the efforts, the dreams, and the sacrifices of those who came before us. Your mother's sacrifices are not just part of your history, they are the silent engine that has been driving you forward since the very beginning. Until you truly see them, acknowledge them, and understand them, a part of your potential remains locked away, untouched and unknown. Her sacrifices were not always dramatic or obvious. They were often hidden in the smallest details of everyday life. They were there in the meals prepared without complaint, in the late nights spent waiting for you to come home safely, in the worries about your future that she carried silently while smiling in front of you. They were present in the dreams she tucked away, the opportunities she walked past, the parts of herself she willingly gave up to make sure you had a chance to discover yours. Without noticing it, you have been carried, supported, and lifted by those countless acts of selflessness, and recognizing that reality reshapes the way you see your life and your purpose. When you take the time to truly recognize what she endured for you, you begin to understand that your potential is not a solitary achievement. It is a shared creation built on the foundation she spent years laying stone by stone. You are not just living your own story, you are living the continuation of hers. Her sacrifices were investments into your future, and every time you dismiss or forget them, you miss out on a vital source of strength. You miss out on the deeper resilience that comes from knowing that you are the product of love, endurance, and unimaginable perseverance. Recognition changes you. It sharpens your sense of responsibility. It makes you realize that you are not free to waste the opportunities given to you by someone else's struggle. It reminds you that there is a higher standard to live up to, a standard set not by society's shallow measures of success, but by the sacrifices made in your name. It pulls you out of the dangerous illusion that you are self-made and reminds you that greatness demands humility, gratitude, and a profound respect for those who have made your life possible. Understanding her sacrifices also fuels your ambition in a different way. It is no longer about proving yourself to the world or satisfying your ego. It becomes about honoring the path that was carved out for you with such care and pain. It becomes about ensuring that the struggles endured in silence were not endured in vain. It becomes about making something beautiful out of the life you were given, a life paid for with someone else's sleepless nights, unanswered dreams, and relentless hope. This recognition also breeds resilience. When you face obstacles, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and defeated. But when you remember the battles she fought just to get you here, you tap into a deeper well of strength. You realize that you come from a lineage of endurance, from someone who endured far more than you ever knew without applause or validation. You realize that within you runs the blood of someone who chose perseverance over despair, who chose to keep going even when the world offered little in return. That realization changes how you face your own trials. It makes quitting feel not just like a personal failure, but a betrayal of the sacrifices that built you. Recognizing her sacrifices humbles you. It silences the voice inside that tells you that you deserve success just because you want it. It reminds you that everything worth having comes with a cost, and that cost is often paid long before you ever see the reward. It shifts your focus from entitlement to stewardship. You stop seeing your talents and opportunities as things you are owed and start seeing them as gifts you are responsible for nurturing and using wisely. Living with this recognition is not about living in guilt or constantly trying to repay a debt you never asked her to create. It's about living with awareness. It's about striving to become someone whose life reflects the depth of love and sacrifice that helped shape it. It's about choosing paths that require courage, choosing actions that require character, choosing dreams that require work and perseverance, because anything less would diminish the invisible sacrifices that brought you to this place. When you recognize her sacrifices, you realize that potential is not a static thing you are born with, waiting to be discovered. It is a dynamic responsibility, a living testament to all the unseen battles that made your existence, your choices, your dreams possible. Your fullest potential is not reached by standing alone. It is reached by standing with the memory of those sacrifices etched deeply into your heart, using them as a source of strength, of humility, and of relentless purpose as you move forward into the life she once dreamed you could have.